Hello, welcome to this new episode of the Alex Show TV. This episode is from November the 14th of the year 2025. Today's a Friday, as always. This one is going to be really interesting, but I'm sure I'm going to get a little bit of pushback on this one. This is a very well-known story, the story of the planet that I don't think it's a planet, I think it's a spaceship, Nibiru, that you see on your screen, and the two main characters of the Anunnaki, uh, Enki and Enlil. And the story has many different angles, many different versions of this story. So please don't get upset. If you want to make a comment that I'm an idiot and I'm totally wrong and you're totally right, that's perfect. Just don't be upset if I don't engage. Finally, thank you for your comment and thank you for watching. A couple of people have been belligerent about that they feel that I'm playing with them, toying with them. No, just I'm not going to engage in a discussion if the story, your story is right and my story is wrong, or my story is right and your story is wrong, and the difference and all that. I'm no one to give you advice, but if you think about it for a second and if you contemplate that, that's also a program. That's also you are being played in a way. That's also a division program. The rage of knowledge. Is knowledge making us rageful? Yes, the ones that react like that. If you get upset that I share a story that is different from the story you are totally sure, in this case, or on any other topic, then if you think about it, if you're really rageful, is maybe your ego making a play for it? Is maybe your ego making you rageful? Is maybe your ego playing you, directing you, controlling you? So I'm sorry I started with that, but many of these topics, I got it on the Sophia show, I got it on the Demir show. Many of these topics have some different versions. No one is claiming that I'm giving you the pearls here. I don't think no one knows the true story, the full true story. I think we have fragments of the story. Have to understand a lot of these things come from intuitions, from channelings, from old books. Who knows what the quality of this? And as always, I do believe in my intuition. I do believe my intuition gives me something. It gives me fragments, gives me pieces. And that's the story I'm going to share tonight. That Nibiru, first of all, is a spaceship, doesn't behave like a planet. Planets have to respect the laws of the universe. So, as a planet, air quotes, which I don't believe is a planet, that can go wherever it wants to go and can get near other planets and create gravitational issues, is not a planet. It's not a planet. Has has in a way achieved that. Maybe it's physically a planet, but I'm saying it doesn't behave like a planet. It clearly has control of where it wants to go. And I've seen it referenced that Nibiru has eccentric orbits. It's an eccentric orbit. One thing is being eccentric, and one thing is going wherever you want to go when you want to go. Okay? So I think it's a little bit different. Just think about it. Eccentric orbits, what does that mean? Okay. When apparently the rest of the universe behaves with clear cut, respectful orbits. Okay. That's why planets don't get together too much together as far as distance, that they're going to affect one or the other. That's the law of non-interference. I'm not going to, I don't know, Mars, I'm not going to interfere with you, Saturn, okay? And Saturn not going to interfere with Mars. There is certainly always some gravitational effects, yes, like the one that the moon has on Earth and the opposite. Of course, but Nibiru is a different thing, okay? And the story of Enki and Enlil, again, don't get upset. I've heard the versions that Enlil is the father of Enki. I've heard the versions that they're brothers. I don't know why I always hear, as you can see in the screen right now, Enlil is apparently the one on your right, and Enki is the one on your left. That technician, that technological, the knowledge-based one. And Enlil is more the enforcer, the belligerent, the rageful, okay? And I always heard the story when there are brothers that Enki is the smaller brother of Enlil, okay? Also, in this support video, very interesting, because I already also heard this version, which I agree. Apparently, they are half brothers, and Enlil has a draconian background, or comes from the Draconians and the Anunnaki, and Enki is more a pure Anunnaki. I think even if the support video doesn't mention it, Enki has always had the vibe. He has a Pleiadian background, okay, highly technological, highly advanced, in a way not really a very belligerent, but also he's not a saint, okay? So, you also heard this story, the bad cop, good cop story of Enki and Enlil. Enlil is the bad cop, is the belligerent, is the bad one, and Enki wants to save us, wants to give us information so we get out of this matrix. I think he had a lot to do with whatever this system called planet Earth is. Okay, so we're going to watch two clips of the same support video. The first one is the mainstream story of Nibiru. They don't share my idea. I'm in a minority here that Nibiru is a spaceship. They still call it a planet. Some call it a meteor, I don't know why. Or apparently that when Nibiru gets close to other planets, a shadow of meteors will come from its atmosphere. Very weird stuff. So let's watch the support video together, and I'll continue to give you my thoughts.
If all the stars you know weren't the only things shining up there, would you truly dare to confront what hides in the darkness between them? Those who look up on a serene night can hardly imagine that, amid the calm, a silent colossus travels its path, dragging along myths, prophecies, and secrets buried long before the first line of the Bible was ever written. Long before telescopes were aimed at Saturn, Jupiter, or Pluto, priests, kings, and wanderers were already whispering about a colossal intruder, a giant wandering body that roams the icy edge of our system like a wolf stalking the yard of someone sleeping. Today, some call it Planet X. Others prefer Black Star. But among the oldest, it bears a name that, even whispered, chills your blood. Nibiru. Every cycle of approximately 3,600 years, or in the Sumerian tongue, Anisha, this invisible titan comes close enough to disrupt everything we believe to be unchangeable. The tides go wild. The magnetic fields dance. Humans feel a restlessness that no one can explain. In 2025, some say, the signs will once again light up the sky with whispers of an alignment that spares no one who is distracted. And it's nothing new for this to be part of forbidden rumors. On the clay tablets of ancient Sumeria, in fragments that escaped fire and time, scholars have deciphered accounts that treat Nibiru not as a metaphor, but as the dwelling place of beings so real that they shaped the life that today believes itself to own the earth. It's almost comical. We excavate ruins, study myths, and build museums, yet we ignore the greatest moving monument, a wandering world that doesn't ask permission to announce its presence. For the Babylonians, it was Marduk, lord of the journey. For the Mayans, a visitor who resets the ages. In ancient India, the scriptures left clues disguised as poetry, but they point to the same truth. Something out there makes the sun tremble in cycles. For modern science, questioning this taboo is heresy. Why is that? Perhaps because admitting to a body 3 times larger than Earth, circling like an invisible scythe, topples maps, chronologies, and comfort.
Okay, that was a very good mainstream story of Nibiru, and I want to clarify a few things, okay? I've spoken about Nibiru a couple of times in the past. I did a specific show about Nibiru. On that one, was a few years ago. This feeling that Nibiru was a spaceship was still developing in me. So I said, I'm not sure it's a planet. I think it's a spaceship. Now I'm fully sure. Again, inside me, not something I can prove. And I don't care to prove that Nibiru is actually a spaceship that behaves in a controlled way. Similar to the moon, by the way. Similar to the moon. It's basically the same thing to me. Why possibly the Anunnakis and Nibiru are the ones that left the moon here? Why do I believe the moon is 100% artificial? Yes, the story that is hollow, that makes a special sound, the strange gravitational knot corresponding to its mass. I mean, it has a gravity that is not according to its mass. All other planets, apparently, they have a gravity that behaves, kind of correlates to its mass, and the moon don't know. And also, the one that is the red flag, that the storyteller to me, is the impossible natural fact, really. That is the only moon that is 400 times smaller than the sun, but is 400 times closer than the sun. So it's a perfect cap they can put in there and block the sun. Because if something is 400 times smaller, but is 400 times closer, that makes it, that correlation, that relationship makes it that you can actually, the light coming from the bigger object will be fully covered by the smaller object because it's 400 times closer. Okay, so that's why we get these extremely strange eclipses, they call it. Or sorry if that name is not correct in English, but you know, that they eclipse the sun. Okay, and And to me, that's why the moon is very similar to Nibiru. And yes, quite probably it was left behind here. The story apparently is that there was a way smaller moon, which makes a lot of sense. The moon is the fifth largest moon in the solar system when the Earth is one of the smaller planets. Again, that also doesn't make sense. Or moon is too big for a planet, okay? Why? Because it has to stop. It has to first be in an orbit. That's why it's a moon. So it had to be 400 times closer than the sun. So they had to make it, manufacture it 400 times smaller, okay? And that size, because the sun is quite large, ended up that we have a moon that is way bigger than naturally should have, okay? So a story there was a smaller moon, basically a rock up there, an asteroid, quite small. And it was taken away, so there was no confusion. There are two moons, okay? So that's, in a way, it's not extremely difficult to deviate the orbit of something like this with some, like you see in the movies. It's quite possible with that sufficient force. They basically send the moon away and then probably send it to the asteroid ring or just outside the solar system. And so it's a non story. But I'm sorry, deviated with the moon here. The story of Nibiru also has a lot of relationship with ancient civilizations such as the Mayans and everything we saw there, the Sumerians, of course. But not only limited to the Sumerians, okay? I think they were, in a way, in bed, I'm sorry about the expression, but they were related to a lot of civilizations out there, all throughout the world. And they were not the only race that came from the stars, because Anunnaki, the expression is the ones that come from the stars. There also who say is related to the god Anu, and the key is related to Enki, okay? The Anunnaki that related to Enki and Anu. So that is quite fascinating in a way, because apparently they are the ones that say, hey, the Anunnakis and Nibiru is not so bad. They came here, they share a lot of knowledge. Yes, but apparently some of this knowledge was wars, was the money system, was how to create weapons, how to be belligerent to each other, how to divide each other, how to create countries. All of this knowledge was not from Earth. It's not natural, okay? It was clearly something that came from species that are still working their evolution, that are still learning how to behave. They're gonna get there, like some others are way improving, like the Urmas and and the Arthurians and those. But these belligerent species, like the show I had a few weeks ago, that I had one show on species that are a little bit more harmonized, and the second week was the species that need a lot of work. Okay, so the Anunnakis apparently, especially when they were very related to planet Earth thousands of years ago, like the picture shares, they didn't have. Let's just leave it at that. They didn't have the best interest in mind. I want to share a very well-known story just to finish with the Anunnaki, and we can move to Enki and Enlil. That apparently the reason they came here is that Nibiru, you see kind of a gold color on the picture. Apparently, the atmosphere of Nibiru uses gold. I don't know, for protection, for filtration, for something. Okay, gold is a very well-known material throughout the universe, very good in many things. Some claim it's demonic. No, demonic, you want something demonic, you want something dark, that's black goo, okay? Those are mushrooms, the fungi, all of that. Those are in that category. I'm pretty sure, and they're actually dark in color. Gold it's just a very benign material out there, and the Earth had it's just sheer luck that some planets have a lot of gold and some have almost none. So when they ran out of their gold for their atmosphere, apparently Nibiru, as a spaceship, ended up, or they, again, not a spaceship per se, but they were able to control their planet to move around and take it into other systems. That doesn't make sense. It's not an eccentric orbit. That just doesn't respect anything. So they were looking for other planets to mine gold, okay? And they had apparently they take the miners out there with them. They were another species, not Anunnaki, another species they basically kidnapped from their own planet. And these species, well, they had an ego, as we all do apparently, and so they say, hey, we're not going to do it anymore. So the Anunnaki, we were Neanderthals at the time, the humans, and they say, hey, there's maybe someone that apparently we can give it consciousness. Apparently we can use it as slaves. And no different that many countries went to Africa and kidnapped thousands and probably millions of people and took them back to their, I'm talking the 1800s here, 1700s, and took them back to their own countries to work for free. What does that mean? Being a slave. The Anunnaki apparently said the same thing with the humans. We're going to transform you so you can mine the gold for us and be a slave, and we can control you. Because in the pure form, the Neanderthals were at the time, they were not controllable. They could not learn simple mining or whatever transporting lessons, okay? We were very basic in that sense. I'm not saying we're better, not right now. I'm just saying we were like animals. Very difficult to teach an animal to mine gold and that, okay? So basically that's the, I think the thing that Nibiru and the Anunnaki are more well known for, which is kind of the creation of human, and I use huge air quotes because that doesn't mean, okay, that what we are is thanks to them or anything like that, or it was a benevolent evolution. We were gonna get there eventually or not, I don't know, but we didn't need that. And for me, a huge red flag, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but a huge red flag on the, sorry, it's missing the word, the Pleiadian story, is current people that claim that the Pleiades basically saved planet Earth. They also claim that the Pleiades created the human, helped the human evolve. Without the Pleiadians, humanity will be gone, and probably planet Earth will be gone. I disagree. But that's a huge red flag because maybe they're talking like they're the Anunnaki, and there's this very well-known attachment that the Anunnaki and the Pleiadians are the same. They're just in a different level of evolution. It's like talking, we were the Neanderthals, humans, and now we're the humans, okay? We were the Neanderthals, the Anunnaki, now we're the humans, the Pleiadians, okay? So in a way, we're being tricked of all this Pleiadian love and vibration in love, and everything is about love. Yes, everything is about love, I agree. But we will need the disclosure of all these channelings from Pleiadians. Hey, we are the Anunnaki, we're just evolved now. We're Enki, and Enlil, and we're evolved now. I think that needs to be addressed. So I'm sorry, I went very long. This is a topic I'm very fond of, and I know a little, that's why I talk more than normal. Okay, let's watch the second support video. I think in 3 minutes, this support video is the best one. By the way, original in Spanish, dubbed by Hagen in an excellent way. This support video is the best I've seen on explaining the story of Enki and Enlil, and I fully attach to the story as he shares. So let's watch it together. It's very interesting.
The Anunnaki were not aberrations. They were the logical result of an evolution calibrated to withstand conditions where a human would disintegrate. Dense bones, hypertrophied musculature from birth, and internal organs adapted to metabolize mineral resources at rates unimaginable for our physiology. Even among them, there was not a single caste. Just as here we have kings, commoners, and soldiers, there an even more intricate hierarchy governed roles and destinies. At the top, Anu, the ancestor who bore within himself the pure heritage of the Anuhasi lineage, the source of all authority in the Nibiruian sphere. His throne was not merely political, it was a living knot, upheld by harmonious rituals and blood codes that ensured the stability of a people spread across 17 continents and orbital bases. Directly beneath him, 2 names that shaped the earthly saga more than any others: Enlil and Enki, half-brothers, rivals at their core, complementary in the chaos they both spread and contained at the same time. Enlil, the result of a union with the Chiyaka reptilian hive, inherited a dominant temperament, iron discipline, and an obsession with control that was reflected in every law code imposed on nascent humanity. Enki, born from Anu's direct bloodline with a priestess of Atlantean descent, followed the opposite path. A brilliant bioalchemist, restless, a cultivator of all forms of life, and guardian of the divine seed imprinted in the human genome. While Enlil wanted obedient flocks, Enki saw potential in every thinking being. He believed that even the rawest clay could contain sparks of a greater harmony. This division of spirits spread to entire factions. Some followed Enki, keeping alive a pact to protect the earth as a living library of sacred genetic experiments. Others, loyal to Enlil and his network of draconian influence, preferred to extract, dominate, and control the flows of telluric energy and the incarnated souls themselves, treating everything as cosmic livestock. Thus was born the conflict that spans the ages. On one side, clans that never stopped secretly watching over the Earth, repairing faults in the magnetic field, softening disturbances from solar radiation, inspiring prophets.
Okay, this is excellent. By the way, I know it's in Spanish, but you can. I'm pretty sure that you can find a way. It probably has the auto dubbing. This creator, it's there. YouTube is deploying that to most creators by now. It's not as good dubbing as the one you saw on the screen. I want to clarify the YouTube being free. They're still improving it. I'm pretty sure they're going to improve it as we go in a year, 2 years. It's going to be close to Haitian quality. But one thing, I've seen a few dubbed videos on YouTube, and I do it on purpose because some of them are in English and I put Spanish just to see the quality, if it's improving, and it's getting there. You certainly can understand the full support video, even if it's in Spanish, if you select the dubbing in English or other languages. 12 languages, by the way, Polish and French and Italian and some others. So my suggestion, as always, is this is not my work, what we just watched. You're interested, the support video is excellent because I just got 2-3 minute clips from a 27-minute video, something like that. So it's extremely, extremely interesting. Yes, I attached to this story, to this version of the story. I never attached to the story that Enlil was the father of Enki. I think some got that idea from the father that he was older and that. Also, it makes all the sense in the world that Enlil has some draconian reptilian background heritage in a way, because that's his that's what he demonstrated. Okay, there is this side story that Enlil actually wanted so much to stay in the story of Earth that he is Zeus, for example, from Greece, okay? The god Zeus, god, air quotes, semi-god, or fallen god, or something like that. And I don't want to say it, so I don't want to get anyone upset on religions, but apparently the god on some of the holy books of other religions, okay? That he took that place in a way because he wanted to keep being revered, which goes with the draconian reptilian background, that they operate by force, they're belligerent, they believe in hierarchies. Draconians believe a lot in two things: hierarchies and money. Okay, they are the inventors of money. Basically, we saw that a few weeks ago with the support video. And by the way, all of these are my feelings. This is not absolute information. Please, don't waste your time trying to argue with me that you're gonna do a comment saying God invented money. I heard it many times. God invented money, but he didn't invent usury. No, God didn't invent money or usury, okay? Because money still makes a lot of people suffer, even without usury, okay? And if we are all going to get money, money is pointless. That's the other point. When people say, because everyone should have bank accounts with millions of dollars, the money wouldn't be worth anything, okay? You're not getting the point that money is, one, scarcity, and two, division, and three, it's a tool to create to make us operate in their rules of this system, okay? That's it. I'm not saying you should hate money. You actually should try to get money, okay? Because yes, it's the only physical way to operate in this reality. You cannot go out there, and many have tried, okay? And that you need money, by the way. The ones that say, I'm gonna go out there and buy a piece of land and live off the land and have generators, all of things I just said need money. To live off the land, you're going to need fertilizers and you're going to need stuff, or you're going to need work and you're going to need to pay someone. I don't think they're going to buy your story that they should work for free and stuff like that, I really come to the conclusion that money is such a difficult energy, and I will keep saying it, because in a way, it's like the jailers of the prison. You cannot go against them. It's just bad business, okay? You need to find a way to work with them, okay? If you try to go against the grain, you're just going to suffer, okay? But money, again, is from that draconian hierarchical system that controls the politicians and the governments and all that, okay? In partnership with many others, including probably the Anunnaki. So Enlil makes all the sense in the world that he has that background. And Enki is more, it's a hard one because I don't want to liberate Enki of any responsibility. But I think it will be the case, okay? Let's just leave it at that, of these politicians you see out there, that they really have the best intentions, okay? But the effect of their intentions is so low because the system itself doesn't allow them. And sometimes some of them end up being killed, okay? And in the case of Enki, it was not the case. He was highly protected. He was a hierarchical figure of the Anunnaki, and he was highly technical, highly advanced, highly very professional in a way. That's the vibe I get, and apparently he wanted to share this knowledge with humanity. And some of the technology we have, some of the advancement in technology has to do with Enki a lot. He wanted to share that. I also know that for sure, for a fact, that he shared, for example, how to create weapons, how to create even things as basic as swords and stuff like that. And also, in a way, adopted the idea that we should be fighting each other and countries and division and everything that you have been following for a while. You know that I'm completely against, and I believe the new world that is coming is all of that, leaving all of that behind. So that's why I have a hard time giving a pass to Enki. But certainly, if you had me choose, certainly Enki was much better to us than Enlil, okay? So I hope you enjoyed this show and you get a different perspective on this very well-known story. I don't think, if you are into this channel and similar channels, I think you have heard Nibiru and Enki and Enlil before. Again, why did I make this topic? And in a way, we're having again a little track of similar topics. The YouTube algorithm I was watching, and suddenly I saw this 27-minute video and said, you know what? I can get 2 clips from here and make an excellent support video on the story of Nibiru, Enki, and Enlil. All right. Thank you very much for your attention. Have a great Friday, a great weekend. Take care. Thank you for making it to this part of the video. This is my favorite part. This is where I suggest to you that you discover your true self. You are not what you have been groomed to believe. You are this incredible being without limits that has eternal life, amazing strength, infinite wisdom, and a big, beautiful heart. All your limits are always self-imposed. Your best version in this reality is inside you. Your only mission on this life is to become a beacon of love and to serve others. This version is ready to be discovered today. How do you discover your true self? The discovery process is a personal one. No one can do it for you. Dedicate 5 minutes a day to talk to the universe. Simply ask, who am I? Where do I come from? What is my purpose? You will start getting signs, breadcrumbs, and signals. You will notice how your notions about this reality start disappearing. No more hierarchies, no more competition, no more complaining, no more depending on others. Discovering your true self equals to real freedom. Your self-imposed limits will fall and you will be ready to understand this reality, but you must be patient to allow others to wake up at their time through their own free will. That will be really soon, you will see, and that will set up a new world. As you work towards your best version, you will notice how all emotions don't serve you anymore. Hate, fear, rage, pride, lust, envy, violence, justice through violence, judgment of others, and other emotions will disappear from your mind and heart. You will understand those emotions are only your egoic mind and are not you. Please try to be understanding of others that don't think or feel like you. Everyone has a process. No one is right or wrong. We're all just different. Don't be concerned about being right, ever. Don't allow pride preventing you from patching things up with family and friends. It's very important you enjoy this life with your loved ones. Put in the work to patch things up and leave it to others to decide. Thank you very much for watching. Please share, like, and subscribe. If you have any comments or suggestions, please use the comment section below. For private questions, conversations, and if you would like to appear on the show, please email me at hey@thealexshow.tv. Thank you again. Please don't forget to visit our website www.thealexshow.tv. By giving me your time, you honor me. Have a very, very, very nice day.